Hello friends, this is Dr. Rina Dadhiya from Pune and I'm practicing homeopathy since the 4 to 5 years. I have worked with Dr. Dinesh Chauhan on various projects, assisted him in his clinic, and I'm associated with his ABJF trust, have lectured for some of the webinars with him, and I'm also helping him with some of his books. I've also worked with Dr. Atul Patwardhan here in Pune, and we've done a number of drug provings together. And I'm also now in the process of doing a lot of trituration drug provings, and I have already done a few with a homeopath from Denmark and a homeopath from New York. And I'm very pleased to be associated with Dr. Dadhiya, and I thank him for giving me this opportunity to put my thoughts together on repertory and how materia medica has to be referred to after repertorization. So since I'm a traveler and I have been spending a lot of time in the mountains in Himalayas, I would really like to describe to you the three pivotal, the triangle of homeopathy, case taking, materia medica, and repertory. In that sense, So repertory is the center, okay, and case taking comes first, and materia medica comes later. So imagine, what is case taking? Case taking helps you to take a portrait of the disease, right? So imagine you have a photograph of a picture of a mountain home in some village, okay? So case taking gives you that photograph, okay? So you ask the patient, you talk to him, you take his details, and slowly this canvas which is blank, you start putting the picture there, right? So you get a photograph of the picture. But how do you reach that picture? These days we have Google Maps, right? So the Google Map, when you zoom out, tells you which state or which country, right? And then if you zoom in, it tells you which state. You zoom in, it tells you which area in that state. You zoom in more, it tells you which road to take, which path to take. You zoom in more, it gives you these small icons. You see restaurants, houses, places nearby, right? So that is repertory. So repertory is like you have this big portrait with the case taking that you have done with you, and slowly with one repertorization, one rubric, the Google Map sort of constructs the path for you, right? It constructs which route to follow, which remedies to come down to. So what happens at the end of when you zoom into the Google Maps, you start seeing the terrain, you start seeing what is nearby, what is the like, is it hilly, is it mountainous, is there a river nearby? So you start getting a rough idea of how I'm supposed to picture that place to find it out, right? I can see that there is this particular point nearby that I have to cross. There is this particular path nearby or tree nearby that I have to cross, right? So that's what the Google Maps tells you. So the repertory is like a Google Map for us. But in this Google Map, you see that it's very mechanical. Yeah, you cannot actually see the house in the Google Map. You can only get a rough picture of the house. You can get a rough idea of how to reach there. The Google Maps tell you that the location is on your right or the location is on your left. Now you take 300 degrees right, you take 300 degrees left. So that is the Google Map, that is the repertory. But when you actually see the house, when you reach there and you see the house and you feel the place, only then can you compare it with the picture, with the photograph that you have, and see how it matches. Is it this house, right? And that is materia medica. Reaching that place, getting the feel of that place, knowing how it looks to match to the portrait of the disease that you have, or portrait from the case taking that you have. That's how materia medica matches to bring you to the simillimum. So the Google map is the repertory, right? But it's mechanical. If you look into the construction of any repertory, how it is, repertory is not like, of course, in NES repertory, you have D verbatim symptoms of the patient. Still, it is very, I wouldn't say it is wrong or incorrect in any way, but it is mechanical. Yeah, it is divided into parts. In proving, if you have read provings, then you see there are these, or if you have done provings ever, then you see you get a feel of the drug and you write down the feel, or you get a feel of the, like, I have got headache, the headache is this type, the headache is comes on this time of the day, the headache, what makes me better, what was my mental condition at that time. So this particular whole state, that is one symptom or one expression that came up in the drug proving. But the same is divided into the repertory in headache in general, then head pain, then maybe a sensation, then head pain and location, then head pain above the location or above the sensation, you see aggravated lying down. So it has divided this one symptom into multiple parts. So sometimes it can happen that a little bit of so to say mechanical feel can come up. It does not give you the exact feel. The exact feel is given by the drug proving or the materia medica, and that's why referring to the drug proving or the materia medica gives you the feel of that particular drug, and that matches with the feel that you have had during the case taking with the patient and prescribe the simillimum. Now I would also like to highlight that every repertory is constructed in a different way depending on what the philosophy the author is following or which materia medica the author is following, right? And in these days today we have softwares where all of this is brought together and all of this is presented to us in one beautiful repertory. Yeah, but this can often lead to a little bit of errors, because we may follow a completely different philosophy and we may not find that particular rubric in one repertory, and we might have to use multiple repertories, types of repertories, or we end up over particularizing our case. Sometimes it can happen, not that you're wrong anywhere, but sometimes you get a case where the theme comes up very nicely, but we don't have very good repertories which represent themes. There is a thematic repertory, but there are certain themes that cannot be represented in the repertory, which can be accessed only by materia medica. There are certain cases where you have had a theme, but you have had very good particulars, very good modalities, very good dreams. Then we refer to the theme in the materia medica and we use these particular expressions that are very prominent rubrics to confirm, right? So depending on the type of case, what the patient has given you, is he given you very good rubric type, like where you can get clear rubrics, where there is a good hierarchy of, like, you have got good mental generals, good physical particulars, good physical generals. Then the repertory comes to a particular group of drugs, and always you see some drugs are common. You know, some drugs like lycopodium sulfur, sepia, or some, you know, these drugs are very commonly represented. Also, that's because these drugs are well proven, and there are certain remedies which are not so proven, and hence the representation of these less proven drugs is not so good in the repertory. So first of all, it depends on the type of case, and that's why the type of repertorization will differ, and that's why what you refer to, how is the feel, always you have to refer to materia medica. Second, it can happen that there are certain remedies which come up very commonly because they're very well represented, very well prescribed, very well, you know, all the symptoms, are a huge amount of symptoms, and that's why they come more frequently. But we might miss out important prescriptions or the similimum because we, if we 100% rely on only repertory. So always looking back to the materia medica can help you. You know, if you are following the sensation method and the repertory does not really divide into kingdoms unless you use the filter. So using the filter also can give you a certain amount of, like, all plants, all minerals, right, all sub kingdoms. But these days we have a deeper understanding in materia medica, like the classification of, like, Ian Sholton's classification of plants, or we have certain classification that's more advanced in materia medica, and hence referring to the materia medica is more helpful. Like we have Dr. Shankaran's reptiles, we have spiders which have been very well represented, we have fishes which have been very well represented, but not always you get them in the repertory. But maybe you have seen that these particular themes are coming up in the patient, then you use the repertory just as, you know, whether particular rubrics that have come up are there to confirm, you know, that is this particular drug coming up when I put this particular rubric, you know. So like I said, that you can come down to a certain group of remedies with the repertory, but you cannot say what comes first is the drug that is to be prescribed. So of course repertory is very important, but it is not the destination. You have to refer to the materia medica, get the whole image of, you know, get the feel of the drug when you read it, because there are certain, like for example, you have calcarea, you have so many calcareas which are not very well represented in the repertory, and you might have only calcarea carb, you know, come up, or calcarea silicata, but there is also calcarea calcinata which is not so very well represented in the repertory. So you might refer to the materia medica and find out, okay, I have a group of calcareas come up, but maybe my patient needs calcarea calcinata, you know. So you refer to the materia medica, find out the theme, and look at the prescription. And even in acutes you might have very good clinical symptoms, very good particulars, and you come to a group of drugs, but there are certain keynotes which you have from the patient and they're not very well represented in the repertory. So you finally refer to the materia medica to come to a conclusion of which remedy is to be prescribed. So this is what I think, that's why materia medica is the final, should be finally referred to for prescribing a particular remedy, and repertory is the Google Maps that we use to come down to a group of houses that you're looking for in the picture, to come to a group of remedies that you're looking for in the picture, right? Because we know that materia medica gives you the feel. You know, there are certain materia medicas which explain everything in detail, and repertory is a sort of mechanical division of arranging symptoms together so that it's easy for us to come to a particular group of remedies. And I thought this is what to me makes sense of how Materia Medica should be our final reference point for prescribing a particular remedy, and repertory should be our path to come to a group of remedies. And thank you once again, Dr. Galatia, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all for listening, and I hope I make justice to this topic. Please feel free to comment if you have more points for me to or if you have more thoughts about what I said. Thank you.